So today I'm going to be talking about how you can invest for your children's future. Now, as previously talked about compound interest and how powerful of a force it is. Basically, you want to start as early as possible to allow compound interest to do as much of the heavy lifting for your financial future as possible. The longer the timeline you have, the better. Like consider a 35-year-old who starts investing $100 a month into the S&P 500, which historically has returned about a 9% year average return. By the time they're 65, after 30 years of investing, they would have invested $36,000 total, and their investment would be worth $183,000. If they had started 10 years earlier at 25, they would have invested, $48,000 over 40 years, and their investment would be worth $468,000. 30 years versus 10 years, and they're, double, right? 10 extra years, it doubled in 10 extra years. So someone starting at 18, just 7 years earlier, would have almost $900,000 at age 65. So it takes the 25-year-old 40 years to reach half of that, and the 18-year-old just doubles it with another seven. But what if you had $100 a month going towards investments from the time you were born? 65, you'd have $4.5 million. Time is truly a powerful thing. The longer you have to invest, the bigger the money will become. Imagine if you could have opened an investment account when you were a baby. Now, you can't turn back the clock in your own life, but you can certainly set your children up to reap the benefits of an early start. If you'd like to learn more about compounding and other personal finance topics, you can visit my website, dollarbills.com, spelled dollar and then B-I-L-Z. Right? And if you would like help with your financial life, I also offer one-on-one coaching sessions for just $50 an hour, and you can go to dollarbills.com to contact me or to find out more. Now, before I tell you how you can invest for your children's future, I want you to make sure you're in a good place financially yourself. The worst thing you can do is become a burden to your children because you didn't save for your own retirement. You know how when you fly in an airplane, they tell you to put on your own mask first before helping the person in the seat next to you? It's the same with money. You really need to be in a position of safety and security before you can start helping other people. If you can help pay for your children's education or you can pass on some money to them, that's great. But even better than financial gifts is the gift of education. Teach your kids to be good with money. Set an example by living modestly, by spending less than you earn, by investing the difference. Teach your kids to be practical, frugal. Teach them that luxury goods aren't all that's cracked up to be. Teach them the importance of avoiding debt and living within their means. Teach them the value of a long-term mindset. Teach your kids to be generous and be a net positive to society. It doesn't matter how much money you leave your kids. Even $1 billion can be squandered by someone who doesn't understand its value, doesn't understand how to handle money, how to be good with money, right? But that being said, if you are in a position to contribute to your child's future, there are three main investment accounts that you can open for a minor. All three are custodial accounts, meaning they belong to the child, but they're opened and funded and managed by someone else. So it could be a parent, a grandparent, another family member. Now, the first and the most well-known is probably the custodial Roth IRA. To open a Roth IRA for a child, they will need to have some earned income. They will need to have either a job or they need to do something for money. So, child actors, child models, they qualify for one of these accounts. As I know there's people like entrepreneurs out there who employ their kids, like, for example, to clean their AirBnBs. And people, so basically they have to have a job, like this 6-year-old coal miner would also qualify for a Roth IRA, but his parent would have to open it for him. Now, you might not want your children working in the mines. You might want them to go to college. And there's a way to save for college. The 529 is a tax-free way to pay for educational expenses. Anyone can open the account for the child, but most commonly it's set up by a parent or a grandparent. Now, here's the cool thing. Anyone can contribute to a 529. So if grandparents or a cousin or an uncle want to give their child a financial gift, they can put money into the 529 and save for their education in the future, right? So a college, a trade school, and that money comes out completely tax-free as long as it's used for qualified educational expenses such as tuition or books, but also stuff like rent, while you're going to school, you're renting a place off campus or on campus, and you have gas for your car. All that stuff can be paid for with the tax-free money of the 529. Now, 529s are state specific, so each state would have its own website where you can sign up for the plan. And if this is something that interests you, just go to Google and Google your state and 529, and the website should pop up. But you might be thinking, what if my kid doesn't go to college? What happens to the money then? Am I going to get penalized on that? Not necessarily. You have a couple of options. Um, the first option is that you can pass it on to other family members, such as a sibling, a parent, grandparent, cousin, anyone in the family. And the second option that you can do with the money is you can roll up to $35,000 of the unused funds to a Roth IRA. And this is new actually since 2024. Now, one downside of a 529 is that these assets usually limit what you can get in financial aid at school. But that's not really having too much money is not really a bad problem to have, right? So the third account that you can open for your child is called a UTMA, Uniform Transfers to Minors Act. Now, this account allows a minor to receive financial gifts without the help of a guardian, and it's basically just your regular taxable brokerage account that you can invest in, whatever you want. And it's a custodial account, so the parent or the guardian would set it up and would put the money in there, and anyone can contribute to that account. Anyone can, give the financial gifts to a child into their UTMA. And the parent would manage the account, would invest for them. Um, and there is a limit, the annual gift limit exclusion. So any single person can give up to $18,000 a year to any other individual. So a mother and father could give to each of their children 36,000. So 18,000 from the mother, 18,000 from the father, right? So to each of their children. So but there is no limit to how much money you can have in there. Now, there is a limit on the contributions that you can put annually into your Roth IRA, and there's a limit to the total amount of money you can have in a 529. It's in the hundreds of thousands, so it's not really relevant because most schools cost less than that. But there is a limit. Now, the UTMA is just your regular taxable brokerage, so there is no limit to the amount of money you can have in there. And the UTMA is controlled or is managed by the parent until the child becomes of age of adulthood, which would be 18 to 21, depending on the state. Some states like Florida allow you to keep it until 25 before they gain control of it. And just like the 529, having assets in a UTMA could affect what you get from financial aid. So in conclusion, if you're in a position to set up your kids for a solid financial future, look into opening one or more of these accounts for them. If you've taught them well, they will be grateful you did. As always, live below your means and invest as early as possible. And if you have any questions or you would like to schedule a session with me, you can contact me through my website, dollarbills.com.